Hello, everyone. All right, we're going to be doing episode 2 of season 1, Soul Hunter. Okay. I liked this episode as a kid. It was pretty fun, pretty enjoyable, pretty exciting, pretty neato. As an adult, as a writer, I question what whoever wrote this episode was thinking, and I'm pretty sure it's the one guy I was just singing praises about, which is not exactly a good starting point. Okay, so there are two problems with this episode that are really huge. Number one, this episode has almost nothing to do with anything else that ever happens throughout the entire show again. They could have done that. They could have set this up so that these characters actually are recurring and they are actually part of the show. And it would have been actually potentially an interesting way to set things up, kind of like a time travel thing. Yes, that leads to problem number 2. These guys are basically a Deus Ex Machina machine. Spoiler alert, but it's honestly not really a spoiler, so I don't really know how it's a spoiler, because you can, well, anyway, it's semi-spoiler. Alright, the Soul Hunters can detect when someone is dying. Yeah, but they only like famous people, so Soul Hunters show up when famous people die. End of story. Kind of cool, really, as a concept. You know, if they showed up throughout the show, at different points in the show, I think it could have been a really fun and interesting dynamic. However, lots of famous people die throughout the show, and Soul Hunters don't go around showing up very often. In fact, they only kind of show up maybe 3 times in 5 seasons, and this is one of them. I'm ballparking it there. I don't remember, but I mean, it's it's not much. That said, the episode is pretty good because it does kind of give some backstory to what's going on. In contrast, if you don't watch this show in the correct order and you actually watch the movie that was made after the show that takes place before the show, confusing, I know, but there is a movie there is a movie that is a prologue to this TV show, and you can watch it, and at which point this episode becomes almost completely pointless, because that's pretty much the only thing that really drives this episode forward is this dynamic between the Soul Hunter and blank. I'm going to leave it blank because it is I'm not going to try and spoiler it completely. My goodness, you mean a creature that shows up when famous people die shows up at the station and someone is famous and maybe dying? I'm shocked. Yeah, okay. Anywho, right, it's kind of a Deus Ex Machina. It's not a great mechanic. It's not even a really good mechanic. It's a thing, and it works well enough. But I mean, if you watch the prologue movie, which is what I would recommend, you don't need to watch this episode. There is absolutely nothing that this episode brings that is not done better in the movie. I'm not doing a review on the movie at this time because I wasn't even thinking about it until this exact moment, and I've already started the show, so I'm going to keep going. Anywho, it's not a bad episode. There's nothing really wrong with it. It's just in a show that is very much about a really large, awesome story. This episode has very little to do with that story, and so it's kind of meh, whatever. Anyway, you guys have a good one.